Hi, welcome to Beverly's. My name's Kathy. Today I want to show you how to make one of these no-sew blankets. This one I have made out of fleece, 2 different prints. You could do it a print and a solid, all kinds of choices. A lot of times you've seen these made out of fleece, but another really great fabric to work with is Minky. And I've made a no-sew blanket out of Minky here. I love it. This stuff is just so lush, cozy. It's kind of a really soft pile fabric. Kind of reminds me a little bit of velvet, but washes really well. Fleece and Minky both turn out really great after you've washed them, so they work perfect for blankets. Here's another one that was done with a brown on the back and monkeys, just really cute. So the first thing that you're going to want to decide is how big you want your blanket to be. Fleece and Minky both come in widths that are about 64 inches. So that's a great width. You're going to want to decide how long. This one is a good size for a child. It would work great for a lap blanket. This is 1 1/4 yards of Minky. If you were wanting something kind of along the lines of a throw, a really big blanket, I would recommend 2 yards or 3 yards of fabric to do that with. Alrighty, the first thing that you're going to want to do after you've decided on the size of your blanket is to get the pieces cut and ready to put together. Your fabric will have a salvage, so you want to cut the salvage off of both sides of both pieces of fabric, and then you put the wrong sides together. If you have a large table, I would recommend using that. A ping pong table would be awesome. At my house, I would be stuck going to the floor, but that works also. Works fine. Line up your 2 pieces of fabric when all this has been trimmed off, and I would go all the way around the edge and pin all 4 pieces together. And any edge where you've got excess, one piece is a little bit bigger than the other, trim that off so that all 4 sides of both pieces are exactly the same size and they're pinned together. All right? Next, you're going to want to decide how long you want your fringe, how you want to tie your fringe, how wide you want each little strip to be. So I've taken a piece of felt here, not felt, fleece, put just a little strip together so that I can show you what different lengths and widths look like. But let me show you the couple different ways to tie it, and then I'll show you those different sizes and what they look like. You take your 2 pieces, one on top of each other after your strips have been cut, and for this first one you put the 2 together and you bring them around, put the ends up through the hole and push the knot up. Now, you're going to notice that this is my underside that's coming out on top, and that's because I pulled it through that way. You can pull it through a couple different ways. So let's do that again. Shove the ends up through. I wanted the back side to show, so that's the color. I kind of twist it a little in there when I'm pushing the knot up, and it will look like that with the underside showing. If I don't, well, if I twist it in a different way, pushing that up through, and I want the top side to show, then I pull it through that way, and my knot looks a little bit different. My knot is more like two pieces coming in and this side coming out. And the knot is a little bit more smooth across the top here when I've pulled my color from the other side. You can play around with that until you decide the way you want to do that. So that's 2 pieces together. The other way is to take your 2 separate and tie them once. Just take your two pieces, open them up, tie them once. The other is just a variation of that, and that it's basically tying it in a knot really tightly, and there isn't a whole lot of difference. It's the difference is mostly in how it poofs up along the top edge. Now, I will tell you that in this one, when I made this fleece blanket, I tied it once. And when you do that all the way across, the once or the twice tied like that, you end up with a little bit of a poof along here. It's almost like the knot, the tie is kind of up inside there. It's kind of ruffled up and gathered. When I had my fleece, or excuse me, my Minky, really confuse you here, your knot is all on the outside. So the blanket part is totally smooth and the knot is out here on the outside showing. Now, I'm just going to real quickly run through this with you on this little sample. I just took two solids so that you could see a little bit easier what I'm talking about here. All right, in this section, I have cut my fringe 3 inches long and a 1/2 inch wide. These first few right here, I put my two pieces together and tied them in one knot, pushed them up to the top. Okay? Then I took the 3 inch pieces that are also a 1/2 inch wide, and I tied them once. Here I tied them in a knot, tied them twice. I then cut them in 1 inch widths. And I will just tell you, two pieces together, 3 inches long, 1 inch, you cannot tie it in a knot. So that's not, you can't do this kind of a deal when it's 1 inch wide. So forget that little choice for you. Here it is, 3 inches, 1 inch wide, and they're tied once or tied twice. Then I went and cut them 4 inches long. These are all 4 inches long. This first section is a 1/2 inch wide, tied in knots with the two pieces together. Here they're tied in knots, all of these a 1/2 inch. This 4 inch section is 1 inch wide. Tried tying the knot, and if you like a little knob there, okay, but there's not enough to have any fringe hanging down, so you might not want that one. These are 4 inches long and 1 inch wide, tied and tied twice. And then the last section here is 5 inches. These are 5 inches long and 1/2 inch wide, with the knots pushed up to the top. And then here's a 1/2 inch wide, 5 inch long, and they're tied once and tied twice. So you end up with a lot more fringe hanging down in this section, obviously, compared to over here in the 3 inch section. Okay, and the last little hunk right here is 1 inch wide, and this is also in the 5 inch section, and you can see how that looks, tied with two pieces together, and this is tied separately and tied in a knot. So I hope that helps you. You kind of have to decide before you start cutting what you want your fringe and how you want to tie it. So I'm going to just work on the back here because a solid color, I think it'll be a little bit easier for you to see what's going. All right, my pieces are put together. They're pinned all the way around here, and I have decided on this, on the other section that I have done here, to do these little ties that are two pieces tied together with the knot pushed up. These are 4 inch strips, and they are a 1/2 inch wide. So if I want those strips to be 4 inches long, you're going to want to cut a square that is a 4 inch square, 4 inches on all sides. It's the easiest way to do it. Put that 4 inch square right in the corner. You're going to cut up 4 inches from that side, 4 inches from this side. If you don't cut a square, you can totally do it. Putting a ruler here and a ruler up this way. Cut your 4 inches. All right? When that's totally taken out of all four corners, do that first. Take out your corners. Then I like using a big ruler. If you don't have one like this, you can use, obviously, a regular ruler. If you don't have that, just take cardboard straight edge. You could even use tape and put that along there. Then take another ruler and mark it 4 inches. Lay it down there. Push that so that you know you've got 4 inches going all the way across. Now, the reason that you want a ruler up here rather than just a plain piece of cardboard is that you want it to be marked in 1/2-inch intervals. So if you are using tape or you're using cardboard, you're going to need to mark 1/2 inch, since that's what I'm using for this one. Then you're going to go in and you're just going to cut right up to that 1/2 inch mark. And you're going to go all the way along here 1/2 inch. And you know what? You're okay if you end up going over a little 1/2 inch, going over, it's a tad bigger than a 1/2 inch, or it's a tad smaller than a 1/2 inch, you're okay, all right? No big worry about that. With all that fringe dangling, nobody's going to be sitting around measuring if you have it exactly perfect. Now, I have a couple strips already over here cut so that I can show you on this one how I tied it. And I put my 2 strips together and I bring it up through and pull the knot to the top. Now I will tell you, after you have cut your Minky strips, you're going to see all kinds of little pieces fraying out, and I don't want you to panic on it. It's not all falling apart. You will have little pieces flying everywhere. When you are totally done tying, you just take this outside and give it some really good shakes, and you're done. Your pieces will be gone. This I did a while ago, and there aren't little pieces falling off of it. This I just cut earlier, so you're probably going to see some pieces flying. I tried to shake most of them off, but don't be alarmed that the whole thing is falling apart. All right, you're just going to tie that all the way across and around the corners. It's a great thing to do sitting in front of the TV. These are awesome gifts. They're fun to make for friends, for yourself. So there you go. A no-sew blanket, and I hope you have lots of fun. Thanks so much for stopping by.